Doug Maurice here with Ari Wasserman and Bill Landis. Bill, it's like there's a sand pit back there. Remind you of the Jersey Shore at all?
I miss the Jersey Shore.
All right, we're here at Ohio State. The Buckeyes practiced again today. We got to talk to guys a little bit, but I have kind of a surprise question to ask Ari and Bill as we get into preseason camp here. Guys, what is your favorite thing about me?
Ooh.
That's not really the question. Here's the question. This is a big, broad. Is this team better than last year's team? They won the national championship last year. We've talked to Cardale Jones and J.T. Barrett and Ezekiel Elliott. We talked to the offensive line. We talked to the linebackers. We've talked to Luke Fickell. We talked to Ed Warner. Is this a better team? Will this be a better team in 2015 than it was in 2014?
Oh, I get to go first, man. Yeah, I think so. I just think that last year, and I wasn't here for camp. I feel like I should preface that. But last year, there were a lot of questions coming into the season. I mean, how JT would fill in for Braxton was probably the chief among those. But was the offensive line going to be good? What would the defensive line look like? How would Darren Lee look at outside linebacker? I feel like there are questions, but they're not as daunting maybe as they are this year, as they were last year. I mean, there's a quarterback battle, but both guys are good. The offensive line seems pretty set. They're pretty adamant that Chase Farris is a starter at right tackle. Maybe some depth concerns, but when depth concerns are your only concerns when you're going into camp, I think you can say that this team heading into this season is certainly better than it was last year.
I thought that was going to be a hard question. That's easy. I think, of course, they're going to be a better team. But
wait. They're the national champion. Of course they're going to be better. And they're the national champion. It's hard. It's a hard question.
You yanked the mic away before I could finish. I said, I think they're going to be a better team, but that doesn't mean they're going to go undefeated. Deep.
Very nuanced.
There's levels to this. No, I mean, it's true, though. I mean, I think last year Ohio State used its young talent because they weren't a very good team for the first half of last year, in my opinion. I thought they were always better than the team that they were playing for the most part because of, I think, their competition. But I don't think they could have stacked up with Alabama like in week 6. So what I think happened was they used a lot of their young talent to explode and get better, and those guys turned into superstars. And by the end of the year, it all came together, and it was a truly phenomenal, fantastic run for this team. Now they're all coming back. We can't say that last year they were a year early and then not give them the benefit of the doubt moving forward because all those players from the team that was a year early are now returning, are going to be better, more veteran, more experienced, and really equipped to be that good from the beginning of the year. Now, bad things happen on Saturdays. You never know how things are going to pan out. I think Ohio State in general is going to be that good already when they start out the year. Whether or not they lose or not, I can't tell, but I think they should be a better overall team because the players that were great last year at the end should be even better this year, and they're all mostly returning.
You wrote a story earlier about what Urban Meyer said is the big thing that's the top of the list, at least for the offense, which is deep threat. Yeah. Who's going to be Devin Smith? And I think we saw in the postseason, I mean, Devin Smith helped make Cardale Jones. And Cardale Jones helped make Devin Smith, but Devin Smith caught deep balls from a lot of guys, but especially that Wisconsin game. I mean, that was a game where they were telling Cardale Jones, don't throw in the middle, only look on the outside. And what did he do? He looked at the outside 60 yards down the field 3 different times, and Devin Smith just went up. And
that's basically how the defense was.
So here's a question. Tell me, I'm going to write a story about this later. Tell me if this is a maybe under the radar, legitimate question, not concern, but question about things that have changed. Because I think when we look about what's different about this team, we look at Devin Smith, you look at Duran Grant at corner, you look at guys who left, interior defensive line replacing Michael Bennett, right? And I don't know if we look at this. The play calling structure with Tom Herman's departure and Ed Warner, now the offensive coordinator, first among co's. He was a co before, but that responsibility is going to change a little bit. That dynamic's going to change a little bit. It seems like, is it going to affect the offensive line? It seems like no. Is this going to be a completely is this no worries, smooth transition? It's Urban Meyer's offense. Urban Meyer still has the final say. It's cool. Or do you think there could be a little bit of a transition there?
I think there could be a transition. I mean, early on, it seems to me kind of like a fluid thing that just kind of grows and grows throughout the course of the season. But that first game against Virginia Tech, when Ed Warner is coaching up the line against whatever crazy defense Bud Foster decides to show that day, and Urban Meyer's in his ear, they're trying to get a play. I think there's going to be some adjustment there, and I think it could be an issue particularly on in a game against Virginia Tech where they like to do crazy stuff on defense. I think it's not going to be as smooth of a transition as people might think it'll be.
One thing I wonder about is when they brought Tom Herman here, Urban Meyer had not really done up-tempo before. Tom Herman was the up-tempo guy. Now he's gone. Obviously, we've seen how much tempo matters to this offense. I mean, they're great. They're very good coaches. Nobody's questioning their ability to adapt. But any thoughts, Ari? Any concerns, or am I making something out of nothing?
Well, I think that there was something special about the way the quarterback position specifically played last year. They can't accomplish what they did with 3 different guys, or 2, but to see what Braxton did without there being some sort of influence from the quarterback coach. So Tim Beck, I think, has a lot of shoes to fill. But when it comes to actually play calling, I like to think that having all been on the same page in the same meetings for a year, that they can maybe pick up from where they left off. But I do think that there are personalities involved. And whenever personalities change, it's like when we lost Zach, we picked up right where we left off.
Shout out to Zach Meisel.
Yeah.
How about that?
With Landis, but for a minute there, I had to know if I was going to like him as much. And, but just in terms of in the heat, if it's 3rd down and 1 and Ed Warner wants to throw a screen, maybe Tom Herman wouldn't want to do that, and maybe Urban Meyer's influence would be different in both scenarios. So I do think that there's going to be a new dynamic just in terms of the personalities working together, and maybe that'll have an impact early on in the season, but you'd like to think by the time Ohio State gets sort of the latter portion of their schedule, when things really start getting going, they should all be on the same page.
I'm trying to figure out if we're going to put this in the headline. Is losing Tom Herman like losing Zach Meisel? Look at you. You're a little uncomfortable here.
I can be Ed Warner. That's fine.
Okay. More stuff coming this week. We have Media Day with the Buckeyes on Sunday, which is when we should get to talk to everyone, although maybe not the guys who were suspended for the first game. But we got some offensive line stuff coming. We talked to them. We got some linebacker stuff coming. More Ezekiel Elliott stuff coming. And we'll never stop writing about the quarterbacks because everyone loves to read about the quarterbacks. So thanks for watching here at cleveland.com. He's Ari Wasserman. He's Bill Landis, the new guy. Not the new guy anymore.
Not the new guy.
I'm Doug Lesmerises. See ya.